There. Better? Hi, everybody. Can you hear me now? You can hear me now. I can see the little green buttons going. Hi. Hello, Master Blaster. Hello, Miss excuse me. Handy and Three Dogs. It's good to see you all. Hey, Captain. And again, as I was saying, I apologize for not being around very much, but we just had a realization that hey, Aftershock, that we are just seriously far behind. Going up one day a week is just not cutting it. There's just too much to do. And so, had birthday and then, up at 6:30 in the morning, virtually every morning, to head up there and start work. I mean, we spent yesterday. This is what we did yesterday, and it took us the entire day. We filled holes from trees that had been knocked down or taken out or whatever the case might be. We literally spent the entire day filling holes. Um, that's how many of them there were, and that was just one of the things that was on the project list of that one mainly for safety. Um, it's a lot of work, and it's my own fault. I've put it off for a long time, and I just realized that it was something that we're gonna have to do, and so I'm gonna have to suck it up and get some stuff done. Um, so I will try to be around a bit more, as I can. Uh, I'm also very, very concerned about what's going on, obviously, as of yesterday, although it had been known prior to that. Um, and so that I'm very, very worried about. The price of oil, I could care less about. That's not what my concern is because I go nowhere besides the cabin. My concern is that we will be dragged into this. Because if we have a lot of Americans on the soil over there, so I am very concerned that by accident or on purpose, something will happen, God forbid. And we will end up not just being in this by proxy, but actually completely involved in it. So definitely time to make sure that you've got everything that you need and have your stuff in order would be a good way to put it. Um, so I'm not going to go into it very much because obviously we still have not a whole lot of information besides the fact that they've bombed each other, and it's supposedly going to go on. They're predicting for at least a couple of weeks. It also has been posited that President Trump did not want it to happen. However, again, um, this was overdue given what happened, obviously, in October of what, a year ago now, I guess, a year and a half ago. And then again, I think in April of that same year. So, yeah, I think that everybody needs to be uh, being aware of what's going on and also making sure that, like I said, you've got exactly Three Dogs. It did need to be done because Iran has been funding a lot of these terrorist organizations. So, among other reasons, the nuclear reason is another one, but I think they already have nuclear capabilities. So, hello, Bramley. Hello, sir. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us so early in the morning for you. Um, Captain, yes, he does want war. He is definitely of that mindset. Um, Unfortunately, that is his only, response. He doesn't understand that there are other ways to get what you want, and, but then again, the terrorist organizations also think that killing is the only response. So, kind of frustrating. Yep, handyman. So, immigration. Hey, kid, Keyfitter. Hello, hello. Immigration protests are planned around the country tomorrow, and the Pentagon says that the National Guard could be deployed to any one of them if needed. I kind of like Governor Abbott's decision to preemptively. Hey, Farmall. Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Dawson. I like Governor Abbott's idea of preemptively bringing in the National Guard before anything happens this weekend. I think that was a very smart move. Having the ability to deploy them by the time they are deployed, everything will be over or burning. And if any of you have been watching this at all, I find it fascinating that you see two completely different groups of people, from the protesting during the day to the mostly peaceful protesting you see at night in LA so far. Vastly different groups of people. What scares me is a lot of them are teenagers who are supposedly, I don't even know what to call them, but they think that they're, news people. I guess you would call them that. Hey, Hot Rod. Hello, hello. Good to see you. They're technically, I'm gonna get into that, 3 dogs. But these young kids are technically, I mean, they're claiming that they're broadcasting the news with their phone, held up and, running around out there like this. And, I know one of them got hit by a rubber bullet, um, and they're teenagers, and I think to myself, "Where the hell are their parents? Where are their parents?" But I guess I am old and just think differently. But anyway, so yes, there are immigration protests around the entire country. What cracks me up is they actually have them planned up here in the Redneck Riviera, which is probably not going to go over very well. Um, I don't see it being something that is widely attended, I guess you could say. Yes, 3 dogs, I saw that. They're everywhere, and, interestingly, I have discovered some money behind it, uh, a lot of money behind it. One of the sources is a, actual company that has paid protesters that they hire out, and they're refusing to get involved in this, and I'll go over that in a minute. Um And some of it is taxpayer funded. 3 dogs, you're absolutely right. There is, all of these, teachers organizations and other organizations, that are using, or that get taxpayer money, are some of the ones that are, not behind this, but they're involved in it. So, the Florida Attorney General and the sheriff, I don't know if y'all saw this, but it's hilarious. If you has warned any would-be violent protesters, if you attack cops, you will be killed. And quoted as saying, if you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you. Graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. And of course, not to be outdone, I don't know if any of you heard this, because I don't know if it made the national news. It definitely made our news, but DeSantis held a press conference in front of this No Kings protest this weekend. And he said that Floridians have the right to defend themselves with their vehicles should protesters surround them. He stated, "We also have a policy that if you are driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety." DeSantis said, "And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault. for impinging on you. Tell me that's not hilarious. Anyway, um, see, I'm gonna miss him. I really am gonna miss him. I wish that his wife was, supported by Trump, but she's not. That Byron Donalds is instead. But anyway, I don't know how much of a difference that's gonna make, but we'll see. The CIA, has released I don't this kinda got washed under the bridge with all this crap going on above the bridge, which, as we all know, much of this is, designed to do that, and I'm waiting to see what else will come out or has come out but hasn't really been covered that all of this other stuff is hiding, or is a distraction for. CIA releases more than 1,000 pages on the RFK assassination. The CIA released 1,450 additional pages of documents related to the assassination of Robert Kennedy on Thursday, including 54 previously classified documents and revealing records on his killer, and no evidence of a wider conspiracy. No evidence, that is, in the 1,450 additional pages. That's all we know, is that of the pages that were released, there was no evidence of a wider conspiracy. So who knows? Progressive senators propose a ban. This I'm thrilled with, even though it is uh, progressive senators. They didn't spell out which senators were behind this, but regardless, I'm thrilled to death, and I think most of you will be as well. They're proposing a ban on drug advertising to consumers, which I think they should. Um, I see no reason for us to hear about these medications until we go to our doctor or look it up ourselves. And most of us who have any type of a diagnosis would definitely look up these especially the medications they advertise. We would look them up first or find out about them from doctors. Uh, prescription drug advertising, excuse me, makes up a major portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars spent on advertising in the U.S. each year. These drug brands accounted for 25% of ad minutes across evening news programs on ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and NBC this year through May. I would love to see them disappear. So, Um, she got something, y'all. I don't know what the hell's going on. And actually, I was listening to a podcast with a gentleman who was very high up in the FBI at one point, prior to the last administration, who believes that the deep state may have gotten to both Cash Patel and what's his name, Bongino. Um, Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that is his position and his belief, that they came out and they're strategically giving us little tidbits of wins, but the big stuff is being still covered up. Don't know. Here we go. So this is the story that I was just talking about. Anti-ICE riot funding is being investigated. Hi, Jalapeno. After numerous high budget requests for paid agitators were reported. It's very interesting because it actually admits to a company that does this. But an investigation is underway into who is funding anti immigration and customs enforcement riots that are now disrupting Los Angeles and other major U.S. cities after a major company revealed it had received requests for help. Crowds on Demand, which is a California based company that specializes in providing on demand crowds for protests, received numerous high budget requests to get involved with the anti-ICE riots in LA and other cities, but they declined to participate, excuse me. A company spokesperson said it declined to get involved in what is happening in Los Angeles because it did not want to get close to any form of legal activity, including violence, vandalism, or blocking off roads without a permit. He went on to say, we received inquiries regarding practically every major social cause imaginable, and the anti-ICE demonstrations are no exception. The fact that we receive requests does not mean we take them in many cases because the budget does not match the ambition. So it was very, very high budget offered amounts. And as I said before, it's very interesting if you've watched these raids at all, the difference between the ethnicities and backgrounds that you see during the day versus at night. And the later it is, the more prone to agitation and outright violence and looting it becomes. During the day, you're not seeing that, and I'm curious to see what's gonna happen tomorrow, and I'm also curious to see how many people are actually going to be involved in these things because, um, even in California, 58%, and that includes all those Democrats, 58% of the I think it was 10,000 that were polled, do not believe that these, protests are legitimate and also feel that there is a huge problem with immigration and it needs to be reformed, which I found to be a very interesting number given the amount of Democrats that live in that state. So, and I kind of find it funny that exactly, Keyfitter. That's why I said I feel like this is all smoke. Even what's going on in the Middle East is all smoke for something else that we're not hearing about and seeing because it's not part of this news cycle. And I dug around today to try to find anything that could be an inkling of what that was, and there wasn't anything really out there. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. Um, well, uh, I know that there've been some arrests, Keyfitter, but there haven't been nearly as many as, for instance, when I was watching and this was late, it was when we got home, I was in bed, um, exhausted again because it's getting super, super hot, as many of you know, and working outside when it's this hot is brutal. But, um every place that they looted late at night, and this was at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, their time, every place that they looted, the cops weren't there until 5 to 10 minutes, um, after the looting began. It was just very, very weird, um, that it was they were always a step or 2 behind, and I know that, that to begin with, they were outnumbered, but and they needed more help, but they got that help. Hello, Retro. Good to see you. I can't believe it's still snowing, 3 dogs. It is boiling here. I mean, hot, and we're not even to actual summer yet. I mean, we're in summer, but it's not the dog days of summer that we get in July and August. Hey, Drops. Good to see you. Glad you're here. And happy Friday, everybody. And before I forget, because I will forget, happy early Father's Day to those of you that that applies to, whether it be two-legged or four-legged fur babies, whichever one it might be. Happy Father's Day. Um, and Trump allies are investigating who is bankrolling the riots. Um, yes, aftershock. It's pretty brutal. It is. I don't understand how some believe conspiracies so easily. I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to. D69P. Uh, not sure what the reference is to. If you want to explain more, then we can discuss it. Um, So, Trump allies are investigating who is bankrolling the LA riots. FBI Director Patel and Josh Hawley are leading efforts to trace funding behind the riots in LA, and they suspect NGO backed coordination rather than spontaneous protests. No, shocking. I'm just shocked. Of course, it's NGO backed, it's Soros and many, many other people who are behind this. As somebody said, the Walton heiress chick, she's donating money. There's quite a number of people who are donating to this. Uh, exactly, drops. You're absolutely right. It's a rent a crowd. Okay, handyman, you don't have to say hello to Bird. She's fine. She's doing good. She's probably got a Manhattan in her hand. Um, and then there was this. I know she did 3 dogs. I think they had something happened with that. She had to apologize, or the New York Times had to apologize, or somebody had to apologize about that. Um, Trump locks in a China deal for rare earths. This was not on any news I heard. And he keeps the 55% tariffs and opens a path for student visas. After London talks, Trump announced a trade pact with temporary rare earth licenses from China and continued high tariffs from the US. There she is. While Chinese students can stay in US universities, those that don't have specific ties to the CCP can stay in US universities for now. So, yes, Bird was just enjoying, I'm sure she was sitting here relaxing on her Friday night. Um, she's quiet anyway. She doesn't tend to get too involved in chatting. She listens. Um, Marco Rubio, it's getting a little feisty these days. He is bypassing a judge's order and is moving to shut down US aid overseas. All right, Jalapeno, hurry back. Secretary Rubio ordered the elimination of all US foreign aid staff abroad, bypassing a Clinton judge's injunction by arguing the State Department reorganization started before Trump's executive order and falls under national security authority. Pretty awesome, pretty smart too. So basically, he said, "Okay, judge, you go ahead and say that we can't do what we're doing, but guess what? We started it before Trump's executive order came out, and it is a national security issue." I like that. I understand completely, Miss Hummingbird. So this Connor or O'Connor, the whatever his name is, the doctor for Biden, the actual he's an MD, as opposed to Dr. Jill, um, is facing a contempt threat because he's refusing to testify about the president's health. Biden's former physician, Kevin O'Connor, is defying a congressional subpoena by claiming doctor patient privilege, but that does not exist in federal law. So it sets up a legal clash that could drag on past the 2026 midterms, which actually would be awesome because this crap, if they drag it out, will hurt the Democrats' chances during the midterm. But if Congress doesn't get off its ass and start getting some of this stuff codified that needs to be codified, and taking some of this power that they just took away from district judges, we're all going to be screwed anyway. So, let's see. Um, the House. Hey, Rick. Hi. Hello, sir. It's good to see you. The House has passed a bill that repeals a Washington, ordinance that allowed non-citizens to vote in local elections. 210 Republicans and 56 Democrats supported it, while 148 Democrats voted to maintain non-citizen voting rights. There you go. Military commander says 200 Marines have been moved into Los Angeles to protect federal property and personnel, I would imagine ahead of Saturday. And I actually went to the website of this No Kings protest crap, and just to see where all of the protests were going to be held. And it's a pretty nice website, got put up pretty quick. Anyway, about 200 Marines have moved into Los Angeles and will protect federal property, personnel, and other federal whatever. I can't read that word. The commander in charge says the dude is named Major General Scott Sherman, commander of Task Force 51, who is overseeing the 4,700 troops that have been deployed, said Friday that the Marines have finished training on civil disturbance. The Marines would take over their operations at noon local time in downtown Los Angeles. No live ammo. I do believe they have guns. I'm pretty sure they carry pistols, but they're going to use the rubber bullets, I believe, as far as I know, which apparently hurt pretty damn bad. Not having ever been shot with one, but from what I saw from the protests, they hurt pretty bad. Let's see. Interesting that California is stepping up during this. Good question. Drops so that their ability to slant law is allowed, like they've been doing this entire time. They have so much more leeway, the federal judges do, than district judges, than local judges do, even appeals judges. Federal judges have just, it's amazing to how much more unlawfulness they can get away with, that if they were following the actual true letter of the law, they would not be able to. Cool. That is very cool. PAEMT. I have a Faraday bag and I have a Faraday box. It's about as far as I've gotten. Let's see. So anyway, California is actually stepping forward. I think that this is a good sign, I think. But with the continuing unrest, the flash mob looting, they hit the Apple store, they hit the CVS, they hit a jewelry store, and all of this was just being filmed while the cops were running around like Keystone Cops trying to catch up, unfortunately. But anyway, California criminal defense attorney David Wohl told Fox News that the legal consequences are no longer a slap on the wrist for looters, following the reversal of Proposition 47, which notably did not criminalize theft under $950. Now we have a very conservative, hard-charging DA in Los Angeles. That would be the one that replaced the Soros-backed DA. And he is adding up what is stolen by each individual co-defendant. And if that is over $950, everybody gets charged with felonies. So, hello, Guy. America is crazy. America is absolutely crazy, Guy. It's just mind-boggling. I personally think our country is just too damn big. I mean, yes, it's nice that we have this great big country, but it leads to crap like this. Um, so, yes, actually, I would, if you line the microwave with several layers of tinfoil, it would work. But, as I've said, I've made phone calls with my phone in the microwave, and my phone rang. So, don't know how well that would work. There you go, drops. Um, so catching everybody back up again, I apologize very, very much so for, being AWOL. Uh, no, Captain, that's not true. I mean, it's a lot of different things that have gotten us where we're at. This was happening before illegal immigration became such a huge issue. There's been contention, shit, since Berkeley. Um, so there's always been something. And the problem is that people can't discuss it, I've discovered. That's one of the biggest issues is people can't discuss their differences anymore. They used to be able to. Um, actually, PA, it is proven that layers of tinfoil can act as a Faraday cage. But as I said, I have, and actually, I know that there are preppers that have used metal cans. So both of those things do work. But as I said myself, I do have a Faraday box and I have a Faraday bag because you need all the protection you can get. So I think that both are good things to have and know about. There you go, three dogs. Yes. Both are good things to know about. Both ways of doing things I think are good. But anyway, I noticed this the other day. Actually night when I got home from the cabin, we don't leave until dark, but, anyway, read something where, Captain, I am not overly knowledgeable. I am a person who, if I don't know something, I look it up. I try to find out everything I possibly can about things, um, and I learn just like all of you do. But thank you, sir. Anyway, and there you go, PA, that is a valid reason to have that bag. You can have the drums and the tinfoil and all the rest of it at home and have your bag as well. That's a smart move, especially since you're on the road. And uh, oh, so the other night, I was trying to relax, and I shouldn't have been reading what I was reading, but I was, and this person was going on and on and on about how horrible it is, that people are so biased and racist and all the rest of the crap that the person was saying that they have issues with, I don't know, 20 million, um, uh, 20 million different illegal aliens. Sorry, I got distracted. 20 million illegal aliens into the country. We should all just be great with it. Hello, chicken. Um, and being stupid, I responded back and said, I was tired. I was very tired. And I said, but if illegally, they all require a passport at the very least. Most of them require a visa. And if you go into their countries illegally, most Western world countries, or most South American countries, most European countries, you will be at the very least fined, possibly jailed, possibly shot. So the fact that we pay to have them go home, um, I would say is a pretty decent thing to be doing. Uh, but just my own opinion. And then the dude came back and responded and said, "That's because you're a racist." I'm like, "How does that figure I was telling you what the laws are in other countries and how we're actually nicer to these people than their own home countries would be to us if we did the same thing, entered their countries illegally, and you're now telling me because of that I'm a racist. Okay. I dropped it. There's no point in it. But that's the problem. There it is right there. Instead of saying, "Oh, you know what? I never thought of that, but, you know, maybe I don't know what their argument would have been. I really don't. But regardless of what their, a regular comeback um, as opposed to attacking me and saying that I'm racist. I don't get that. And that's what the problem is with this country is that nobody can talk to each other anymore. No one can talk to each other anymore. If you have a difference of opinion, you can't express it. You can't. Oh, thank you, Three Dogs. Thank you for reminding me too, and thank you for coffee. So I have a link on pretty much everywhere to buy me a cup of coffee. If you are ever interested in donating, you can do that, and it avoids the 30% charge that YouTube um, latches on to every bit of money they possibly can. So um, and that is what Three Dogs is referring to. Hey, Jeff, glad to have you. Um, let's see. Chicken asked a question. If you had to pick one essential prep food, what would it be? Uh, I would have to agree with Guy, pemmican or something along those lines. Uh, and what are my thoughts on MREs? Well, I don't think they're worth it if you're talking about the ones you can purchase where you get 20 or 30 pre-prepared meals, because if you look at them, generally speaking, they're not nearly enough calories. And I would rather stock up on 5-gallon buckets of what I'm actually going to use and spend my money that way. So there you go. As opposed to buying that pre-made crap. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that I don't have 5-gallon buckets of pinto beans, 5-gallon buckets of rolled oats, 5-gallon buckets of all kinds of beans, rice, meat, all those things. But I also have the ability to begin producing microgreens within 2 weeks and a full harvest of something within 3 months. So, don't have to depend on those rations for very long in most instances. Now, of course, there are instances where I'm not gonna wanna go outside, let alone, be growing anything. But I also have, well, wherever they are, um, over there, I have, several hydroponic systems. Exactly, Captain. Yes, they do. Um, what joke did a bigot against midgets? Haha. Uh, what does projection mean? Projection in probably the sense that either I used it or someone else used it. It means that you're projecting your own belief system or whatever onto someone else. So that means that you're um, pushing your own ideas or whatever onto someone else. That's how I used it. I can't remember. Oh, there it is. Anyway, guy hates and fears clowns. Okay, that's a good one. I mean, it was pretty freaking scary the first time I ever read it. Um, Bongino, as well as Cash, both of them have claimed that they're being very, very quiet and getting their job done and allowing Kristi Noem and Tulsi Gabbard to be the ones who are more in the uh, news. Um, but I still feel that there is too much quiet. I think that's good to say. 3 dogs, I do have some MREs. I do have some kinda quick ones, if you will, for that first, week or so where I'm needing to, get food into people. Um, so, St. John's wort is blooming like crazy. Awesome. I like to hear that. My lavender is just starting to come in blooming, my own personal lavender. Coreopsis is blooming right now. So my herbs are doing well. Those are actually in pots outside. Um, Discussion is not the same as an argument. Disagreement is normal human behavior. I 100% agree. 69, what a D69P. Um, there's no reason why you shouldn't disagree with somebody else if you have a differing opinion. What I'm talking about is the inability for people to have a regular, normal conversation about their disagreement until they come to some type of middle ground. That's the way things used to work. That's the way people used to be. And even if you disagreed with somebody about something, you still, I mean, unless it was just absolutely like you were arguing with Jeffrey Dahmer, you still were friends with that person, and you allowed that they were entitled to their opinion and you were entitled to yours. Now we've become so polarized as a country that that's not, and as a world actually, that that's no longer acceptable. That's not allowed, if you will, uh, to accept other people and accept their opinions and say, hey, you know what? That's between them and whoever they believe in, and I believe in what I believe in. You're not allowed to have those things anymore. People think I'm nuts for having friends that have different beliefs than I do. I don't care what they believe in. I don't, as long as they're not hurting other people. Um, we have other things in common. Just back to life. All right, let me catch up. Boo, 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 boo. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Um, we're never going to hear all of PA. We're never going to hear all of the biological and psychological aspects of the jab. So there is a very strong strain drop. So you are absolutely correct that they have been playing with in Wuhan again. So yes, you're right. We will see what happens there. Um, Actually, you can also purchase ivermectin from a couple of different of those online sites, FYI. I can't remember who was advertising it. I was listening to talk radio, so it was either on the way to the cabin or the home, um, and they were advertising somebody who had ivermectin as one of the items in their uh, arsenal that you could get. So, excuse me. So anyway, I wanted to apologize again for not being around. And yes, retro, we sure did. I did about, I don't know, 10 minutes on that discussing it earlier. That they're all over and they're being funded by NGOs and the chick from Walmart and Soros and all kinds of other people. Sorry. Anyway, um, you know what, chicken? And it's actually funny you are bringing this up because people live in the suburbs and urban areas and they can't afford to move to the wilderness. They just can't. Most 99.9% of people cannot afford to uproot their entire lives and move out to the middle of nowhere. That is a fact. And I just finished outlining a video on exactly what your situation is, chicken, and, so hopefully it'll be done Sunday. I'm thinking of time frames of cabin and everything else. Hopefully it'll be posted on Sunday, but anyway, um, you're absolutely right. You can't, you can't not prep just because you live in an urban area. Sorry. Um, oh, thank you, 3 dogs. Thank you. Don't tell anyone you have food stashed handy. No one should know you have food stashed besides your significant other and, maybe family, depending on who it is. I mean, I wouldn't even let my if I still had young kids, I wouldn't even let them know that we had that. Um, I would be sneaking that crap in after they went to bed because young kids don't know enough to not mention it. And if you tell them not to mention it, that makes it even worse because now they've got a secret. So I just I don't think anybody should know. Anybody doesn't no one needs to know. It's kinda like your sex life. Nobody needs to know about your sex life. It's kind of also like, I was gonna say something else. Um, how much money you make or any of those things. Those are not things that you have common conversations about, so I would never tell anybody about my food. Um Handyman, that's fine. Grizz probably has just as much, if not more, than 3 dogs does. Um, so, anyway, going back to what I was originally saying. Sorry, I wandered off tonight. Uh, it's literally pure exhaustion at this point. Um, all of these months, I have been putting off a lot of stuff at the cabin, and, we keep trying to play catch up, but the problem is that we are so far behind that we're playing catch up to be behind. And so, while it is the weather it is, we're trying to get everything done that we can. And so that's plus it was my birthday, plus it was um other personal things going on. So I will try to be more present, and I apologize to everybody for not, um, being more present in the last couple of weeks, but that's what's been going on. Thank you, PA. Thank you very, very much. So that has been what's going on, and I apologize to everybody. I will be doing more trips to the cabin, so expect that, and when we do trips to the cabin, if we don't stay overnight, which right now, 89-year-old father-in-law, don't like to leave him overnight. Yes, double nickels. I am now double nickels, and I love you too, Miss Hum, thank you. Um, but anyway, we don't like to leave him overnight, so we are outta here by 6 well, we're up at 6:30, outta here shortly after that, and not getting home until dark. And I know several of you know a similar situation. So, well, hello, John. Happy to see you. Welcome. We're happy to have you. That's awesome, 3 dogs. I am so glad the 2 of you met. I will always and forever be grateful, just for that reason, and all the work that, I put into this channel that is huge to me. Um, so, let's see. Chicken, I hope that is true, and I'm hoping that you can get back to normal. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that can go wrong when you start messing with somebody's, RNA, and hopefully you will be one of the lucky ones that, doesn't have any long-term effects from that. All right, so tonight okay, so everyone who is new here or has not been here in a long time, my regular videos are about prepping. My live streams are the only time that I cover the news. And I try to cover news that either everyone is talking about or I cover things that are under the radar from the things that people are talking about. So if you're wondering why the hell she's talking about the news when she's always doing prepping stuff, that's why. Um, and like I said, it's the only time I do talk about the news. Um, but one of the things I like to do is end everything on a fun ish note of some sort because we've got enough depressing crap in our lives that, a little bit of fun is always a good thing. And laughing is always a good thing. That's another thing that this channel is about and this live stream is about is laughing, smiling, that kind of thing. Um, so this week we're talking about Montana. Well, Miss Hum, I think that you should let Aftershock know that if he ever does it again, you're going to have him arrested. Anyway, we're talking about Montana this week. Bears are not allowed on school property in Montana, even if they are leashed or trained. So we need to let Mr. Grizz know that. You no horses in bars. It is illegal to bring a horse into a drinking establishment. So, Mr. Dawson, please remember that. In Billings, it's illegal to leave sheep In Billings, it is illegal to leave sheep unattended in your truck. It is illegal for married women to go fishing alone on Sundays, and unwed ladies are not allowed to fish alone at all. Women must stay at least 5 feet from a bar if they're drinking. Handy, this is an important one. I'm sure maybe for other people, but handy comes to mind off the top of my head. It is illegal to drive with a sheep in the cab of your truck unless you have a chaperone. So never, ever, ever have a sheep in the cab of your truck unless you have a chaperone. You are breaking the law in Montana if you have more than one alarm clock ringing at the same time. If you're a clockmaker, you're screwed. It is a felony in Montana for a wife to open her husband's mail. No person shall play or engage in the game of golf or throw a golf disc at nighttime. And if you don't know what golf is, it is frisbee golf. It is golf played with a frisbee, so you cannot do that at night. The city of Billings has banned the carrying of concealed or unconcealed weapons and rockets to city council proceedings. So please leave your rocket at home if you plan on going to a city council meeting. Why do they have that even as a law? That's what I wanna know. Rockets, it specifically says. No, prepper, we are talking about the state of Montana. Still in the city of Billings, nobody is allowed to harbor, raise, sell, or offer rats as pets, toys, premiums, novelties, or for any other purpose except as food for reptiles or birds of prey. In Helena, it is illegal for any person to place any revolving fountain, hose, or lawn sprinkler so that the water from the same shall be thrown upon any street or sidewalk to the annoyance of passersby. So, most likely, master, you probably can. It wouldn't surprise me. Um, so those things that they have, those deterrents, you can't those water deterrents that you can have for animals, can't have one of those if it sprays on the street or sidewalk. Very important, very important. Prostitution in Montana is categorized under blah, blah, blah of the Constitution as a crime against the family. A prostitute convicted of prostitution shall be fined an amount not exceeding $500 or be imprisoned in the county jail for a term not exceeding 6 months or both. Her client shall, for the first offense, be fined an amount not exceeding $1,000 or be imprisoned for a term not exceeding a year. So the client gets double or both. For second or subsequent offenses, shall be fined an amount not exceeding $10,000 or be imprisoned for a term not exceeding 5 years or both. So you definitely do not want to be caught as a client of a prostitute in the state of Montana. Definitely not. And if you've ever thought of having sex in your car or, I don't know, with the sheep that's not chaperoned, that is technically called indecent exposure under Constitution Law 455504. You could be fined up to $500 or jailed for 6 months for having sex in your car. So, prostitutes in Montana, $500 per incident, but clients are gonna pay the price. First time, 1,000 and 1 year in jail. Handyman, you don't need a sheep. Leave the poor sheep alone. They need therapy for years. And on that note, I've already cut up my veggies for the night for dinner, and I'm going to go sheep dip. That's awful. That is horrible. They used to make condoms out of sheep intestines. The French did anyway. I'm going to go and cook myself my week's worth of dinners and have no clue what the boys are going to have yet. I'm sure I'll come up with something uh, primarily aimed at the 8-year-old and younger audience because that's what they like to eat. I do have ribeyes, 3 dogs. I got some today, but I need to marinate them. So I have to marinate them first, and then I'll cook them on my Mother's Day present, which was a new grill. Not sure why that's mine, but okay. But all of that. Happy, happy, happy Father's Day, whether it be to two-legged little monsters or to four-legged fur babies. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. And look out for the video that will be coming out, like I said, either tomorrow or um, Sunday on suburban prepping. Miss Hummingbird, I use, Dale's, which has salt in it, but I have to be careful. I can eat some meat, but I can't have them too salty. So, marinating my meat in Florida is not illegal. It is illegal to have sex with a raccoon or a possum in the state of Florida, however. Yes, everybody, please keep an eye out. Please check in on the news this weekend. Thank you for the reminder, Guy. Um, Also, northern states, you may see the aurora borealis this weekend, but please, please, please keep an eye out for what's going on overseas and make sure that nothing scary gets done where we end up getting pulled in, and pray for everybody that's involved. Thank you all very much and have a great night.